I'm extremely excited today and honored to have these young students, citizens, human beings with us right here. But thank you for coming back and tuning back in, and everybody on the internet as well. I'm extremely excited today and honored to have these young students, citizens, human beings with us right here. Over here, sitting to my immediate right is Sakina Shabazz. I've jacked that name up 4 times already, and I apologize.
It's cool.
And then here is Deontay Victorian.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have them introduce themselves as well. They're the members and president of ARSO, the African Revolutionary Student Organization at Lincoln High School. And so I'm going to pass it over to them for a minute. And will you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves, please?
I'm Sakina Shabazz, and I'm also a junior at Lincoln High School in the Center for Science and Engineering, and I've been in ARSO since 9th grade, and this year I'm co-chair.
My name is Deontay Victorian. I'm president of ARSO, and I've been in ARSO since 9th grade. Now I'm in the 10th grade, so about a year, almost 2.
Yeah.
So you guys are pretty young then.
Yeah.
How old are you exactly?
16.
16.
Both 16.
Yeah.
It's incredible from what you're doing here. I was speaking with your teacher Larry earlier, and hopefully we'll get some questions from him later on as well. But I mean, it's absolutely incredible what you guys are doing. Most people out there at this age are throwing eggs at cars, or like
Yeah.
going and falling in line, and going and getting their fast food job, and looking forward to that career, and just submitting to the indoctrination process. But you guys are stepping outside that circle and really doing something that matters in our community and in our lives. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing right now.
Particularly for ARSO, like it's kind of like in the mission statement, just to like empower the students on the campus. And like the school year just started, so we haven't really been doing anything that big, but just through the political education at our meeting is just more focused on like giving knowledge and stuff.
Giving knowledge about what?
Cultural things. Like at our next meeting coming up, we're gonna have like the history and a demonstration about the Afro-Brazilian martial art of capoeira. And at our first meeting, can't really remember. Oh yeah, we had Deontay actually gave the presentation, and the Vice President Kayla Andrews about incarceration and recidivism. And
so like we did the PowerPoint, and we had like ratings about the African American rates, how high the statistics are of our people in jail. Then like what recidivism means, it means like when they repeat the same type of crime in incarceration, like when you get put into the jail. And we did a little PowerPoint about that.
That's cool. Now I've heard too, when people, they go into jail, say if you're a gang member and then you get out of jail, a lot of your friends are, gang members and stuff, but if you go and hang out with your old friends, you go right back in jail. Is that true?
I mean,
it's basically like set up to you, because basically jail's like your house. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so basically that's set up for them to keep on going back, because that's the only place they really know that they can survive.
And to mention the privatization of the jail system, Levi Strauss owning jails.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marriott, all those different companies and stuff have invested in jails and stuff, and that's like where a lot of our people end up going when they don't have opportunities that are given to them in the community. And like it starts off like when you're younger in like elementary school and stuff, if you're not invested in to like go to college or get higher education, then that's where you're most likely to end up, because that's invested in, that's where they want you to go.
It's very true. Even like, in some cultures, it's almost like a rite of passage. You go to jail and then you get out, and it's like, I mean, it's definitely a thing of pride to survive and be in some environment like that. But it's almost like it's, your status is like a celebrity. I mean, it's, I can't think of the right word right now.
I think that's just became the culture that's in the community and stuff like that. And like, I think in like different communities, like you're it almost seems natural to give like dignity to something or something like that, and I guess that's just what's been attached to it. But I mean, that shouldn't be the culture, but I mean, a lot of things result to this and that, and then I guess that comes out to like having pride of being incarcerated or something like that. But I mean, I don't think that's to blame particularly on the person, but
Definitely not.
that's
Definitely not.
the culture, but that's not how it's supposed to be.
No, definitely not. Like Chris Rock had a skit about that, talking about, you know, you're more revered if you go to jail and come back versus if you go to college and you come back, they're like, yeah, you graduate from college, but can you kick my
Yeah.
Like, we gotta look at what's going on in our community with that. What are some other things you guys have been doing?
We do a lot of like outdoor events and stuff. Like we did an event when we go to Board of Education a lot and tell them, we try to get the like gun ranges off of the campuses and stuff, because they're teaching the kids how to like shoot and stuff and like
That was
aim.
successful. That was good.
What happened with that exactly? Go into that a little more detail, would you?
So basically, we went to the board and we told them that we don't want the kids to be training the kids how to shoot guns, because we're not focused towards that. We're focused towards the education, so that we can succeed. And then after that, if you want to go to the military, and you can worry about that later on in the future.
That was like a collective effort of the different student organizations too. Like in the Center for Social Justice, like is MECHA, which is predominantly like Chicano, Mexicano based and stuff like that. And then also there was one that got created last year called ASA, which is the Asian Empowered Student Alliance. And from that, there was a coalition created called the Educational Arms Coalition, and the three main objectives were to get the rifle ranges off the campus, stop having military recruiters like lie to students, pretty much telling them like, oh, like this is what's going to happen if you join. And I believe the last one was to stop having PE credit be given as like going through the JROTC class. Like that's obviously not physical education, but yeah, it was successful with all the student organizations last year, and we got the rifle ranges taken out of all of San Diego Unified.
Now, when you say San Diego schools, are you talking like, was the shooting range, did they have those up in Del Mar and La Jolla and the fancy places as well?
None that I know of.
Not necessarily. I mean, like those schools are not, I would say, infested with JROTC, because there's not students of color at those schools. Like they're investing in JROTC programs where there are students of color, because they expect them to fight for this unjust country and stuff like that, and don't believe that they're good enough to go to college. And so the demographics of the school depends on whether JROTC is going to be there or not. And so Lincoln, predominantly Black, Mexican, and Asian. And La Jolla, I don't think I need to say, but yeah.
Rich crackers.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So.
And it was another thing that happened, like the Romans Forum. It was generally automatically checked about our information getting sent to military recruiters, because like of the policies, no child left behind. They did like actually let us know about that it's included in on this enrollment, so that like if you don't mark no about information getting sent to military recruiters, they automatically mark yes. So I went with it was me. We went to the board, and I went with Coalition Not Armed. Then we were speaking, and we told them that it's not right and stuff, how they just check it for us and stuff. And then they would let the parents know, and now they just send out forms to the parents. We have one right here.
Yeah, get a shot of this. Someone, let's see, who's that in there?
These are the
Greg,
forms
you wanna
we have
zoom in
to
on
give
this?
to our parents now, so that they can actually read it and put their parents' signatures if our information wants to be given to the military recruiters.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, you need a parent signature to go to the zoo.
Yeah.
Literally, let alone like go to Iraq and kill some innocent kid.
Yeah. And so just pretty much like with all of our collective efforts, like this is how work gets done, like through the student organizations and the different coalitions and like the community organizations and stuff like that, and like the organizations from the colleges too. Like if you really want to get something done, like it can get done. And this was illegal to like release information without parent verification first. And so like ARSO took action, MECHA, just the student organizations and the community organizations and the ones that are in the colleges, like we got the work done, because if you want something changed, that's like that's how you do it.
See, could you go into a little more detail on how it's getting done? Because this is the part I think a lot of us fall short on, because, you know, it's like, yeah, it sucks that they're in the schools. Well, what's on TV? You know, like they don't do it. You know, there's no follow through. But you guys are young and you're getting things done. Like, how is this happening?
Well, there's like I guess you kind of have to like create the structure yourself, because like there's a student that goes to our school named Alex Velarde, and he's the one who actually mainly started the Education Arms Coalition, and that was when we were in the 9th grade. And so it just kind of builds off of that. And the thing that happened with the enrollment forms, that was this year. And like when you just know that something is not right, like when you have the collective efforts of different people and you build off of it since like 9th grade, and like before we were even in high school, there are people like in Project Yano and like Adi and stuff like that who are like against like militarization in schools and believe that education comes first before like shooting a rifle. Like when you just have like the foundation of people who are willing to do work, like you can get work done. And so like you just kind of like, you just got to know what's wrong and like just go about it in an organized fashion. And I mean, it's not easy. We've been to the school board like so many times at the gun ranges, got turned down so many times. And then on the last one, we were there for like, how long was that, like 6 hours?
3 to 9, right?
Yeah, it's like 6 hours.
What were you there doing? Were you sitting there protesting, or what were you doing?
Well, yeah, partially, like first.
Both,
yeah.
Like protesting, we went inside and stuff, and we spoke up about the board. We had people holding signs and stuff, saying no military education first and stuff like that.
No more weapon training, yeah.
You know, I think we got to take a pause for half a second here. I want everybody in the audience to start clapping for this right here, because this is something that doesn't happen very often. I want this to happen more. Thank you. This is what makes a difference right here. So this, smile, blush, whatever you guys want to do. Take credit and appreciate what you guys are doing, because it's amazing. Lost my train of thought.
Yeah, we're talking about the school board.
Yeah, you guys have done some other incredible things as well. Can you go in? I've heard you've been able to even bring some artists.
One thing I can tell you to do is sacrifice, and don't look back about it. Do it today. Do it today. Join it today. Go all out now, because we have nothing to lose but our chains. And that's the most important thing we can talk about and be about doing today. Committing, making a commitment, some sort of commitment, even if it's a light commitment to some sort of change inside our community. That's what it is. Commitment. I'm a student of our movement, of our revolution. I am a builder of solidarity. I'm a freedom fighter, a change maker, if you will. What I'm a part of is revolutionary culture. It is said that the political maturity of a society is measured by its culture, by the music that it listens to, the dances that it does, you know, the plays that it puts on. So I'm trying to raise the political maturity of our comrades.
On behalf of ARSO, the African Revolutionary Student Organization, we'd like to give you our last shirt.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I want to say that I'm going to wear it with pride. Thank you. I want to say, I don't meet young people who are in your particular position who are ready to sacrifice the ideas that some people are willing to put on you right now for what we know to be a long-term.
And actually, I want to take that. I'll go back to that in a second. You talked about knowing how something's wrong and then fighting against it. And I had the wonderful privilege of meeting your teacher, Larry, who teaches the social justice at Lincoln High School. Where are you guys learning what's wrong? Like, how are you learning what's wrong? Can you go into that a little bit?
So, like, basically what we're learning what's wrong, because, like, we see it in our everyday life. We see how we're always getting picked on. We see how we're living in the poverty. We see how, like, a minority is mostly black and Latinos that's struggling and stuff. Then we got the high people that's not struggling. They have power over us and stuff. So we just realize the stuff that's happening and why it's happening.
Yeah, and like kind of like through the social justice class, like I don't know, like when you're young, like I guess you don't really feel like you're living in poverty, because like most of the time you do have a family, but there are people who don't have families and people who are just like generally struggling, you know. But like through the social justice class, it's like that light bulb, you know, like it's not necessarily to make change, because like 30 minutes or an hour in a classroom is not going to cause a revolution to happen in like an hour, you know. But it's just the main thing of it, just the mainly for the students like Deontay and I, and like the different students in the other student organizations. Like the main thing for the social justice class is to like spark your interest and to get you thinking like, why is most of my homeboys and cousins like in jail, or like why are we like dependent on government assistance? Why are a lot of our people in jail just like through the class? Like that kind of triggers our train of thought and stuff like that, and then that's how we get stuff like that done.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about such unity and collaboration within the community, whereas before we're dividing each other over colors and creed and all the ethnicity, everything else, religious, all that kind of stuff, sexual orientation. And you guys are really focusing on forming a strong force with one another, and it's amazing that you guys are doing that. I want to talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing in a second, but I know I want to get some time for the audience questions as well here. So I'm going to go in the audience and see who has some questions. Who over here has some questions for Deontay and Sakina?
Dude, you could talk to them about your content.
Larry, you got any questions?
Yeah.
All right. Joking, come on.
My question for you guys, why do you think you bought in to what you were taught or what you found out in social justice, relative to some of your friends? Is it maturity level, or is it just something that you thought, was right and you felt like you had to go pursue it?
Dang.
Especially you, Zakina, because you do a lot of your own research outside of school and bring me information. So could you answer that one?
That's awesome. Thank you.
So like, why did I buy into it? I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that it's something that you buy into, like, well, I think it could be something that you buy into because like you can have an English class and you buy into what you're taught. You can have a history class and just necessarily believe like what you've been taught, but just like, I don't know, just like struggling. Like it kind of gives me an answer to some certain things and stuff like that, because like a lot of times like you want to look at people within your own family or people within your community and like turn the shoulder to them, like, oh, like they're the issue, like they have their own problem and stuff like that. But I mean like personally within my own family, it helped me like break down some things, like why people act a certain way, why people have things and why people don't have things. Like it just kind of, like for me personally, like it just kind of gave me an answer to some things, like things about like with jails and with drugs and like the breakdown of like a family structure and the way that it is and how sometimes it can be very dysfunctional. Like it helped me figure out things. And like one of the main things that I really liked from the social justice class was the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like when you don't have food, or when you don't have a place to live, or when you don't have like family, like you're not going to be able to reach your optimum level of like being successful or like being the best that you can be. Like they say it on TV, and like be the best you can be and be the best you can be in school and get those grades. But like when you don't have a family to go home to, if you don't have a house to go home to, if you don't have food to eat, like you ain't going to be the best you can be in school. And so that's the main thing that I like from the social justice class. Like it helped me break down some things. What do you like, Deontay?
What I liked about social justice class is like my teacher, he encouraged me to do better and stuff. Then he was telling me about social justice, how come everything's bad, how come the economy's bad, how come people's getting laid off, how come taxes going up and stuff. So basically has to deal with social justice, because there is no social justice really, because like all this stuff is happening, we're struggling. There's like people that's living in front of the White House, don't have no place to stay, they're sleeping on the porches of the White House, and those are all like people that are poor. And like White House, that's a big house and that's a lot of rich people. They don't ever let them go in the house and sleep.
Isn't that sick?
Yeah.
How many abandoned buildings do we have in San Diego too? And we have people sleeping on the street, literally right in front of abandoned buildings. I went on 4th Street. I was heading south
downtown?
on 4th. Yeah, and south on 4th, and there was 3 people sleeping right in front of that abandoned building, but because it's historically significant, like you can't go in there.
Trying to look at them like they're the issue.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love that perspective right there. Take it off the individual, look at the macro level of society and functioning. We all, the individual, we all have a responsibility. It's up to us what we do, and it's up to us how we function in this, and how we decide to collaborate. But at the same time, there's outside forces that we need to be aware of, and it's awesome you guys are getting that type of knowledge
And
right
those
now.
outside forces are being taught to you in the social justice class. So
Yes.
it's pretty cool.
Yes. I'd love to get your guys' perspective. What do you think some of these outside sources are? This show, if it's on right now, it would have been cut off months ago. So speak your mind. Say whatever you want.
Outside forces, the police. I don't know, like right there, like in your block, like arresting the people that are like in your family. Those are people who are like stopping you from being the best you can be. Outside forces. I don't know, even the way like bad teachers. I mean, like if they're not teaching you at a level where they can like really educate you and like help you progress forward, then I mean they're not part of the solution. But then there's people who train those people that teach them to not be good teachers and stuff like that, or good educators or whatever.
Very true. Reward them for falling in line.
Because like some teachers, they don't really care about us. They just do it for the money and stuff.
Yeah.
Then like the force that's really outside that like kind of bothers me is the police station. I mean the police department, because like I can walk down the street, they can pull us. Cause one day I was walking down the street, they happened to stop. And then we were just cross the street to my friend's house. They said we was jaywalking middle of the street, and our street's like a cul-de-sac, so you really can't jaywalk or anything.
Yeah, what the hell?
And my friend, he was already across the street. So he was going to his house, and they said he was jaywalking, but he was on the other side of the street, went to his house and stuff, they got his name and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like...
There's a lot of police harassment.
Yeah.
In, you know, communities of African descent, Hispanic descent, Asian descent, and it generally seems to be lower economic class.
Yeah, but aside from like the police, like, I mean, like immigration, I mean, that is like a really touchy subject to like a lot of the people who come to our schools, because like I have like friends and like people who I'm like really close to that have had encounters with ICE, like the Immigration Customs Enforcement and stuff like that, and that is like, I mean, it's on my shirt, real American terrorism, like that. The real American terrorism is like the ICE, like, I mean, back in the whatever time that was, like the KKK and stuff like that, you know? But I mean, those are like the outside forces that are not allowing people to progress. Like, they're slowing us down.
Very true. Different name for the same.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some more questions from the audience here real quick. And I want to talk about what you guys are going to be doing in the future here.
All right.
Right.
Invisible children.
All right, who else got another? All right, you get your next pick.
Do you guys go out in like the junior highs or elementary to talk to the kids before they get to you guys' level in high school so they will know what to do?
Excellent question. Thank you.
We don't particularly go to middle schools and high schools. I mean, I don't think it would be an excuse to say, but like we're in high school ourselves too, and like we have like homework and stuff. But I don't think that is any excuse in any way not to. But mainly like we particular like the incoming ninth graders, like that's where most of our recruitment comes from, because they're open-minded and, you know, are ready to become accustomed to like the cultures of high school and stuff like that. And student organizations are part of that and stuff like that. So.
Thank you. Yep. Do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, cause like we don't go to schools, but we have went to colleges and stuff like UCSD, and we do presentation and stuff on what we do, and we try to get people to like come join and come to the meeting, see what we have to say and stuff.
Thank you. I'm gonna take one more question, and then here, 1 second. Here you go. Faith.
I just want to tell you how us young oldsters look at you and see what you're doing, and you give us such hope for the future. And I'm really encouraged by listening to what you're saying and how you're forming coalitions with other student groups in your school to help you advance in the goals that you've set out for yourselves. And I was curious as to whether or not in those meetings or in your own discussions you ever consider how racial oppression and ethnic oppression and religious oppression intersect with class oppression, so that it all, you know, it keeps us all apart. You know, we are separated in our little groups, and it keeps us all apart so that the richest 1% of the population keep control of 95% of the wealth. Mm-hmm. And that's something that would be really interesting to hear you, to see what your opinion about that is. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, that was kind of a lot in a question. But kind of like the intersections between like racial and like classism and stuff like that. That's all something that we learned in the social justice class and have been taught about. But like from those things, like before, like we do the organizing with their groups, like I don't know, like we've all attained like education, like from the class, you know. But I mean, that is stuff that like we discuss and have discussed before, and that we do believe that there is a direct correlation between like your class, your race, your religion, your gender, everything like puts you in a place in society pretty much. And that's a lot of stuff that we do and like talk about through the class and like in our student organizations, like through political educations that we have in our meetings too. Like it's stuff that we talk about, even though not everybody has taken the social justice class. So I mean, in some of our meetings, kind of like with the incarceration and recidivism that Deontay and Kayla were talking about, that does kind of like correlate with your class, because like if you're of a lower class, you have less opportunities, and like less opportunities leads to you doing things that could put you in jail, and it's predominantly a certain race. And yeah, it just kind of all correlates. Like we do talk about those kind of things.
Do you have anything to add, Deontay?
So like when we went to social justice class, we learned like new vocabulary, like revolutionary,
A lot.
like change. But it's not just any change; it has to do with social change, like for everyone, not just like certain people. Like what I think social change is like social change is like the economy. Everything's equal. It doesn't matter which race you are. It doesn't matter which class you are. They're all making the same amount of money. And so there's nobody poor. Everyone's equal and stuff. And like we learned a lot of words like racism, sexism, heterosexism, and ageism. All these isms and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of ism out there.
Yeah.
That's, before I forget, we got 3 minutes left. The show wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for CTIP.
Thanks, E-Tip.
Who helped organize this whole show right here. And I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to him. So thank you, CTIP, very, very much. What was the word you taught me earlier today in Swahili?
Uhuru. Uhuru, which means freedom. It's an African language called Swahili, so we say Uhuru, which means freedom.
All right. I want everybody in the audience to get up here, please. Everybody come on up. Everybody come up behind the cameras, aim a camera and come on up.
Y'all gonna say
And I want to
Uhuru?
get a, Uhuru?
On three, we're gonna say Uhuru, which means freedom in Swahili. On three,
One.
2, 3, 2, 1.
The ideas that some people are willing to put on you right now for what we know to be a long-term goal. And because a lot of times we only taught to think in the short term, for now, or for the job, or for the grade. But I see overarching what you are embarking on and what you're leaving for people to be involved in is the long term, is the long stretch. And it's very important to have the long view. And so thank you for giving the long view and making me able to be a part of doing what you do. Thank you. It's respect. No matter where you go and what community you are, you're going to become one of the people who make policy in the community that you live in.